I want to talk for a few minutes about a lecture by Dr. Edwin Locke entitled The Psycho-epistemology of the Arab World. He delivered this lecture in 1993. The reason I want to discuss it is that ideas in this lecture touch on the last two videos that I made, as well as some of the videos that I have upcoming. Also, it has some insights for some questions that I've had in my own mind and some other people may have about how Muslims react in our comment sections when we post videos. Now, to delimit what we're talking about, this is specifically talking about Arab culture. However, Islam came from Arab culture, and Arab culture, really modern Arab culture, comes from Islam. So it may have some variances in other parts of the world, but in general I think that we'll find a lot of relevant information about the followers of Islam from this. Two things that he was talking about that I wanted to highlight are about the Arabs' method of thinking, and also a couple key cultural values in the Arab world that he identified. I'm going to be going over these very briefly. I recommend his lecture for a much more expansive description of these. First of all, in terms of their method of thinking, 4 quick points related to Arabs. That 1, words are used as a substitute for actions. 2, there's a use of exaggerated rhetoric. 3, they have mental passivity in the face of reality. 4, they externalize blame. Dr. Locke summarized these as being indicative of something called the primacy of consciousness. To be quick, because I don't want to focus too much on this point, I'm going to read a definition or information related to the primacy of consciousness. It was written by Ayn Rand in an article, The Metaphysical versus the Man-Made in Philosophy. Who Needs It, page 29. The primacy of consciousness, the notion that the universe has no independent existence, that it is the product of a consciousness, either human or divine or both. The epistemological corollary is the notion that man gains knowledge of reality by looking inward, either at his own consciousness or at the revelations it receives from another superior consciousness. If you saw my public service announcement video talking about the incidence of rickets in Muslim women and infants, where I talk about it's time to make a choice about the source of knowledge. In that choice being the primary primacy of consciousness, which Dr. Locke is talking about, or the primacy of existence, where we look at the facts of reality, and we see that this practice of wearing the hijab is causing women and infants to be diseased. As a second issue, what I want to look at is key Arab cultural values, which Dr. Locke identified. These are relevant in terms of understanding and analyzing data relative to Arab culture, and also for guides for issues in communicating with people coming from that culture. There are 5 key points that he identified. The first is traditionalism, which is something that I touched on in my earlier video talking about Amina and her murder by her neighbors. The second issue that he identifies is collectivism. I'm going to be dealing with that issue later in a video that, in my own mind, I refer to as Guma. Guma being the Muslim community of the faithful, and Guma being the Pink Floyd album. 3, as a key Arab cultural value, honor. I think that we see this often in our comment sections. In the Arab sense of honor, if they feel that they have been disrespected, they feel the need to save face, which results in a response of insulting the person that they feel that they've lost face to. There are two things that this indicates. One is that whatever argument they're involved in, they've lost. And 2, that this insult is a substitute for them acknowledging their error. 4, anti-effort. They don't like to work, and they don't like those that do work. 5, fatalism. This fatalism is about predestination, that whatever's going to be, Allah has already decided, so no real action on their part or change on their part will affect what is to come. In fact, it would be blasphemous to try to take control of one's life from this cultural values perspective. This can become very frustrating in terms of trying to have a conversation with someone who has no open mind or willingness to consider or change anything, because they start with the presumption that is beyond their capacity to have any impact on the future. Finally, I want to deal with the issue of the fact that Muslim culture used to flourish and have achievements in the past, and it doesn't now. A typical Muslim's reaction would be, see, we used to be great, sure, now we suck, but Allah willing, we'll be great again. And what that neglects to consider is that the past glorious achievements were a function of the knowledge that the Muslims had acquired from the Greeks. And this knowledge was dangerous, especially Aristotle, because his methodology is a antidote to theism. Thus, the Arab intellectuals, like Immanuel Kant did in Europe, had to reject these advantages in order to save and preserve their religion. And that led to the slide in decay, this rejection of these Aristotelian ideas led to the slide and decay of the Arab culture. In summary, why does this all matter? First, it impacts policies, war on terror, rebuilding of Iraq, ongoing relations with Arab countries. 2, it affects the prospects of the Arab world progressing from where it is today, or to slide back even further into decay. And 3rd, individually, it can inform and help us better interact with people coming from these cultures